Hello everyone, this is Claudia McLeod, and I'm here to tell you a lot more about my film project, Factiction. It is something I wrote a very long time ago, and it's a feature-length film that I'm hoping to put into film festivals. It's a very serious drama. There's also some comedy in it because that's how life is, but it's a very serious movie, a story about autism, ADD, dyslexia, friendship, and a teacher who changed the life of a student who had a lot of problems that were unseen by the system. This is something I started writing a very, very long time ago, and at the time, I did not realize that I had autism. It was a story about a girl who was an artist, who drew on everything, who was very ADD, very much like me, in fact. At the time, I didn't know I had autism, and I was basically making a character who was going through some of the things I went through. Of course, it's her own story. The story is about friendship, and it's about the struggles of being 30 years old and still in high school because of all the learning disabilities and problems that a person can go through when they have dyslexia, when they have ADD, when they have autism, and it's overlooked. And it's seen as behavioral problems, and people really don't try to help. So there are a lot of movies about men who are still in high school, or things to that nature. Well, there's not enough about women in this way. In fact, there's not enough about women with autism in general. Because autism in women was only discovered not very long ago, thinking about it. It was thought that they might have autism, but it took until recently for people to realize just how serious the problem with women with autism really is and how deep it is. This story has two main characters. The main character is played by me, and that is someone who has a lot of trouble, but is an artist, is making comic books, she's writing on everything and drawing on everything, including shoes, walls, her homework, things at home, and she's a very serious comic book writer and with her own loose and very naive but beautiful style. The other main character in this movie is a teacher who comes in and changes the lives of many students, including this main character. He is a very important person in this story. In fact, he is really the biggest character. He's someone who has ADD himself. He's a brilliant teacher, but he's someone who's had a lot of strange issues and behavioral things in his own life, as you see. He's in his late 50s, and he's got a lot of strange things that are there that you'll see about him that are very almost otherworldly in a way. But this is a very serious story. You see, he's also an artist. He's someone who draws quite a deal and writes stories as well. He's got a huge imagination, and it just shows what two people who really understand each other and understand what reaching out to do something about changing things can really do in this world. It's a great story of friendship. It's a great story of a teacher changing someone's life and a student changing a teacher's life. It's a stop motion and live action movie with a lot of heavy drama, including abuse by a parent, a younger who's going through a lot of pain over his own sexuality and being gay. He's 15, she's 30. If she leaves the house, there's going to be a lot of trouble in her own family. The father is very verbally and physically abusive. That's the ugly side of the story. This movie has a very, I want to say, almost Wes Anderson feeling to it, but it's mine. It's deep. But there is also, in terms of the stop motion and the drawing on everything and the cardboard and the paper and the serious stories and the drama that it's going through, there's very much a science of sleep or Be Kind, Rewind feeling to this, which is one of my favorite directors, the work of Michel Gondry. So when you're thinking about looks for this movie, you can think of those movies. They're in a very special school that is for kids that have some money. But this person, this 30-year-old girl, doesn't come from money. Her mother dated the person who runs the school, which is a very prestigious but strict and non-understanding type of school about people with issues. This movie means the world to me. Getting this made, I think, will help people see how important it is to see that people with autism, people with ADD and dyslexia are people too. They are people with big ideas. They are people who are just as smart as someone who is at the top of the top doing what they do best in life. And we get turned down for jobs. We get told that we just don't have what it takes. We are looked over a lot of the time. But this movie will employ actors, actresses, actors in general with ADD, autism, neurodiversities, people with dyslexia. And you will see how good these people are at what they do by this intelligent and well-made movie. Please vote for me on DIY Hero so I can get the funds to do this. I'm also going to be making a Patreon page for it. I have a very good actor in mind for the main character, the teacher who changes the life of the student in this movie. Something rather interesting about the teacher, who is in his 50s, is that he comes across as a very worldly person in a lot of ways, almost like he's playing two parts. He's playing the part of this professor. They call him the professor as a joke, even though he's a teacher at a high school. He seems very worldly, like he's world-traveled, and he has traveled a lot, but it may not be the travels that you would picture him doing. He comes across as this very wearing a ascot kind of character with the tweed jackets and everything, and there's maps all over his walls, there's old records, there's all kinds of things that he's interested in classics and poetry and you name it. But some of the stories that he tells, some of them are real about his own problems that he's had in his life. And some of them are sort of made up. Or maybe I shouldn't give that away. You know, he talks about these travels. He's just not telling you certain things about the travels. So maybe he is a world traveler in a way. But let's put it this way. Some of those travels, some of the things he's not saying to them right away are that it was him living in a van because he just got kicked out of where he was or lost a job and all these different things. So he's got this persona, this thing about him that's larger than life, but also very realistic, very beautiful, dealing with issues that are deep and wants to help others to find their way. The arts helped him, and listening to himself helped him as well, and he helps the main character so much that there's a beautiful friendship that happens with it. The main character actually winds up putting herself into a mental health facility at one point because she just thinks she's going out of her mind between the abuse from the family, the physical and mental, everything going on with the school, and the teacher losing his job at the school because he's giving in so much to just saying, I'm done with the bullshit in life. And the brother, her younger brother, gets taken away by child services. She wants to get him emancipated. She's over the age, doesn't need to worry about it, but, you know, if she tries to go away and get him emancipated and everything, it's going to break this family apart in a way that is so insane. And there's that kind of looking at your family like it's the mafia thing, where if you don't do the right thing and cover up the right stuff, you're in trouble. So she's got to deal with these demons. When she goes to the mental facility, she realizes after a while that it's not just ADD with her. And it's not just dyslexia, and it's not just problems that can be summed up by behavioral issues. She has autism. And this gets brought to life in a very, I think, humbling way that will show you what it is to be a human being. And how we think that we're not important sometimes. We think that we don't matter. We just want to stop. But when we realize that we can do something about it through the fear of the problems that we realize we have, we sometimes realize that it's not a problem. Maybe autism itself is a superpower. Maybe there are challenges that come with it every day. But we can do so much with what we already have. We can go beyond. To tell you a bit more about the main teacher in this story, his character is quite an interesting one. He is a brilliant teacher. He brings theater, art, poetry, and all kinds of beautiful things to life for these students. But there is so much going on in his own life and about his past and how he grew up in the movie as well. He's also very imaginative. Part of this movie being called Factiction is about facts and fictions coming together. Some of the things about this main character are quite magical in a way, but it is not done in any kind of cheesy way, really. It's sort of a place where you will understand that truly creativity can create the things that you want. It goes to a place that is almost spirit in this movie, because it starts to show that the things that we create on paper and in our minds can become realities. So that's where the stop motion animation and things around us in the real world start to become realities. And with that, there is a whole other world that's within this world, like another dimension. And the facts and the fictions, the ugly truths, and the beautiful mindset and ability to climb outside of your fears and thinking that I can't do it anymore, create something that really explodes in a way that will show you that there is other worlds within this world, and those worlds are you. You are the other worlds within this world. The main teacher is such a larger-than-life character, but also a very serious person, a very serious character. He's got a lot of funny stories, like anyone who's gone through a lot in life. And he's also learning new things just the way the students are. The interesting thing about him is he is getting younger and younger throughout this movie in strange ways. There are scenes where he looks in the mirror and doesn't understand why he's losing gray hair. He hasn't been dyeing it. He doesn't understand what's going on. Little things are happening in reverse because he's opening himself to the mirror image that he sees of these kids that are reflecting his own self looking at him in a way. It's a metaphor, really, but the truth of it is that it's climbing to a better place. It is utilizing magic, the magic of film and theater and the arts, and going into this other realm to show you that anything is possible. That and the mixture of the really, really tough things that the people are going through and how they're trying very hard with everything they have, including the abusive father with all his drinking and all his problems. And I really feel that each character in this deals with so much, and a lot of people can find something in that, maybe as a reflection in themselves. We can reflect on so many different characters being a mirror of ourselves because we're large, we contain multitudes. That's a Walt Whitman quote, and I believe it. The main character of the movie in the beginning of the film, she is dressed up as a little rocker dude with a handlebar mustache, little round glasses where you can't really see his eyes. And she is this little rock and roll guy, little 70s rock and roll guy. And this is how it opens, in her garage with a makeshift kind of movie set that she's made of cardboard and stuff. And the guy's name is Captain Cassette Tape. That's her character. It's sort of a, for lack of a better term, SCTV kind of weird underground channel that she's making this show from her garage in. And she plays this character, and it talks to people about recording on gear that's all tape. And she tries to make money doing all kinds of ridiculous things, like including signing autographs as this character, making really strange things, selling all kinds of strange things. A lot of the characters are very kooky in this way. There's a lot of beautiful music involved in it, and a lot of the music that you will hear is actually done in a way where the characters themselves use tape recorders. They're recording their own sounds to kind of put these musical pieces. They have a band, the kids and the 30-year-old, where they record sounds from their voice and things that they hear in conversations and create music out of it, like instrumental pieces from people's voices and different sound effects and stuff. So that kind of happens a lot. There's a narrator in the movie. I call him a narrator, but he's really a silent narrator. He doesn't speak a lot. He is a 16-year-old kid, and he has all this old recording gear on his belt and in his jacket, and he likes to record all the different things that are going on and make beats out of it and stuff like that. So it's very kind of punk rock in that way. And some of the music that I would really like to use in this is very good old punk and stuff that's spliced together. A lot of maybe local bands, but not just local bands, just a lot of good old music that I think would fit the best. Hopefully we'll have a budget to do that, and if not, there's always garaging it up and doing it yourself, because I'm a musician and I know tons of other musicians. I really feel that it could be all kinds of different music. I kind of see this whole thing being like a big mixtape of great songs that made you think of different things at different times with lots of emotions. And I think it's kind of humbling in that it's like a big mixtape of sounds, but also the music that the people in the movie make. So with that being said, this is my movie, and I'm going to try my best to get this made the right way, the proper way, and I hope that you'll vote for me, and I hope that on Patreon you'll do what you do on Patreon. Thank you for listening to this, and thank you so much for staying with it so long. Take care.